Hi, my name is Jennifer Rummel and I'm Miss Jackson's sister. I want to talk to you a little bit about volunteering. For those of you who don't know, volunteering is giving your time or talents to someone or something in need because you care. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how I work with volunteers every day in my job, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how you can volunteer and make a difference in your community.
Some people, like Mrs. Jackson, always know what they want to do when they grow up. Mrs. Jackson always knew she was going to be a teacher. I knew that I liked animals, but I didn't really have an idea of what I wanted to do with my life until somebody at my church recommended that I volunteer with animals. So I started doing that when I was about 22 years old. I volunteered with the Humane League of Lancaster County for years and years, and I did all kinds of things with them. I started out as somebody who just gave time whenever there was a special event, like a walk or a gala, but then I slowly moved into roles where I helped plan those events. And then I started to move into roles where I was helping to do some construction when there were projects that were needed around the facility. And I even got to work directly with animals and give them vaccines and microchips. Something that really surprised me about my volunteer time with the Humane League was the number of friends that I made, lasting friendships that I still have today, and the fact that my volunteer work was recognized with an award.
My volunteer work at the Humane League of Lancaster County all those years ago also helped me to make one big choice in my life, to adopt a new friend. This is Kiki, and if it wasn't for my time at the Humane League, I never would have met her all those years ago, and she wouldn't be my friend now.
I liked volunteering so much that I decided to go back to school and get my degree in charity work. That was about the time that I was recruited by the March of Dimes. Do you recognize these two people? One's a television star and one's a movie star. And the movie star is going to tell you a little bit about the March of Dimes and how it helps babies like his.
You may not know it, but if you were born in the United States in the last 75 years, you share something special with millions of Americans. You are a March of Dimes baby. What does that mean? To answer that, we have to go back, way back, to 1938, when the polio virus was one of the most devastating threats to both children and adults. President Franklin Roosevelt, a polio survivor himself, created the March of Dimes to put an end to the dreaded disease. With the help of some famous friends, FDR called on Americans to give whatever they could to fund a cure, even if it was just a dime. Then, something awesome happened. Change became change. By working together, Americans raised millions of dollars to research a cure for polio. It was Dr. Jonas Salk, a March of Dimes funded researcher, who finally cracked the code and created a vaccine. With polio wiped out, more kids could just be kids. So what happens when you set a goal this big and actually reach it? You find new ones. The March of Dimes' new focus, preventing birth defects and infant mortality, required new donations if it was going to make a difference. Once again, America stepped up for the little guys. Only this time, multiple breakthroughs were created, including a few happy accidents. These included treatments for respiratory problems in newborns, along with innovations that took the first step towards mapping the human genome. Research backed by the March of Dimes has even led to 13 Nobel Prizes. For more than 75 years, this incredible organization has touched the lives of countless children, maybe even you. For example, if your mother took folic acid during pregnancy, then you are a March of Dimes baby. If you were born healthy at 39 weeks, had a heel prick newborn screening, or were given an APGAR score to evaluate how you were doing at birth, you are a March of Dimes baby. And if you don't have polio, you are, without a doubt, a March of Dimes baby.
Every single child in this picture was one of those premature babies that Chris Pratt spoke about in the last video. I got to work with all kinds of people at the March of Dimes. Some were kids and some were adults who raised money. Some were kids and some were adults who donated their time to help to hand out t-shirts and food at events. And some were people who just donated potato chips, which is okay because potato chips are delicious. Do you see all those boxes of potato chips? My time at the March of Dimes was great, but it didn't last. I moved on to another organization that had a lot of needs.
They come from all walks of life, different races, classes, educational levels, and household environments. They're referred to us by children and youth agencies and juvenile probation offices. Yet, they all have one thing in common. They need direction. And the Children's Home of Reading helps to point their lives in the right direction.
Sorry about that buzzing. This video is legitimately probably older than almost everybody watching it. The Children's Home of Reading is where I am now, and it helps children with special needs. A lot of these children have behavioral and emotional issues, and sadly some of them don't have families, and work with the Children's Home of Reading just to take care of them until they can find parents. We use volunteers a lot at the Children's Home of Reading, like all of these people. All of them are adults, but there are things that children can do, and that's why I wanted to talk to you today, because there are ways that you as children can become involved in volunteering. Do you like to do arts and crafts? You could make cards for elderly people in nursing homes. Something we always need at the children's home is clothing. You could choose to collect some old clothing from you and your family members and maybe even your friends and donate them to a local shelter. Something else that animal shelters always need is towels and newspapers. You can collect old towels and old newspapers and ask your parents or guardians to drive you to a local animal shelter to hand them out. A lot of homeless shelters and domestic violence shelters are also in need of hygiene products like shampoo, soap, and toothbrushes. This is something else you might be able to collect and then ask your parents or guardians to drop off at a local shelter. If you're feeling really motivated, you could ask your friends and family to donate animal supplies instead of birthday presents at your next birthday, and then you can take them to the local animal shelter and hand them out. As you get older, more and more volunteer opportunities will become available to you. You could try doing something like just volunteering for one night, like I do every year during the Extraordinary Give. You could also find something else you're passionate about and get involved with those things. Like maybe you would like to read library books to children in a library. Maybe you like adventure, and being a firefighter is something that could really be exciting to you. Or maybe you're just like me and you love animals, and you could volunteer at your local animal shelter walking dogs. In fact, here's a picture of a dog walking another dog. Unfortunately, most of these volunteer opportunities won't really be available to you until you're at least 16 years old, but that doesn't mean that you can't start thinking about it now.
If you have any questions about getting started as a volunteer now or when you're older, please write down your questions and give them to Mrs. Jackson. I'm happy to answer them as soon as I can. In the meantime, I hope to see you out there volunteering. Thanks so much for watching this video, and have a great day!